Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Alex Ritza. I'm a cycling doc, and today we're going to be talking about why I hate YouTube bike fitting videos, why it is basically impossible to do a good bike fit on yourself, and I'm going to give you a couple ideas of what to look for if you're looking for a bike fit, what I do as part of my process, and what I think you should be looking for in the bike fitter that you are going to work with. So, YouTube bike videos, they drive me insane. I've never made one of the how high should your seat be, how high should this be, what the angle of your seat should be, because bike fitting is a very multifactorial process where if you change the position of, say, the cleat on the shoe, that is going to change the position of the seat height. That is going to change the angle that you need your seat height at, which is going to change the length of the stem that is needed, the height of the handlebars, and how one change in one part of your fit is going to cause a need for changes in other parts of the fit. So I suppose if your bike fit is terrible and you're way off to lunch, then yes, maybe a bike fitting video on YouTube showing you what your seat height should be might get you into the right ballpark, but I think that's basically all that it's going to do. It's not going to give it a custom optimized position for you. So if you're watching one of those videos, please recognize that it's going to be very, very difficult to get that customized position that is just right for you, maximizing your power, maximizing your aerodynamics, maximizing your comfort, because ultimately, the process of doing a bike fit should really start with a really, really good assessment. And that is my differentiating value proposition. It's what I do all day, every day with patients. I assess dozens and dozens of patients really quickly, or if we're doing an initial assessment, a really thorough assessment, the same assessment I would do if I'm going to have somebody to my bike fitting studio for a bike fit. And a good assessment is needed for a bike fit because if you want a customized position on the bike, you have to understand how the body is shaped, its structure, and how the body functions, say the mobility, the strength, the tissue health. You have to understand somebody's individual geometry and how their body works if you want to match that to their position on the bike. If you're doing something like a retool fit, or you're searching for that middle of the bell curve that the knee should be 37 degrees, well, that only works if, say, somebody's hamstring and sciatic nerve mobility is really good. If somebody's hamstrings and sciatic nerve health is poor, tight, immobile, whatever word we want to use, then they're going to be on a different part of that bell curve that is not going to be that specific angle that a computer shoots out or that the textbook says it should be. And that's where a thorough assessment that looks at all those different body parts and how they move and how they're shaped and the individual geometries of the body, that is needed in order to customize the fit for you. So even with the foot, when I'm assessing somebody's foot, I'm going to look at their arch. I'm going to look at how mobile their foot is. We're going to look at how much their arch collapses. And we're going to look at things like forefoot varus and valgus so that we can understand whether we need to use some wedging or some orthotics to get that foot in the right position on the cleat or on the pedal, pardon me, and to see if we need to use any wedging to get it flat on that surface. So a really good bike fit should start with a really, really good assessment where the details of that assessment are used to inform the bike fit. A bike fit, I can never know how to position somebody solely from their assessment. The assessment is really informative. Sometimes you see some things during the assessment, like say some forefoot varus or some curvature in the foot that you're sure is going to require some use of an orthotic or some wedging, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes a patient or a client, when we're doing their fit, their foot ends up flat on the pedal when everything about their assessment says it shouldn't. Now, those are rare circumstances. Usually the fit is very much informed by the assessment or dictated by it, but in those cases, the assessment does not, and you have to work on the fly. So assessment's really, really good on my end for when we hit a roadblock or when something doesn't make sense, we know what the next step is so that we're not guessing. So if I was gonna get a bike fit with somebody, and why I've never done a great bike fit in Toronto at least, is there's nobody else in the city that's trained with really good technique to assess the body. So I would personally want to see somebody with a medical, physiotherapy, chiropractic background, or somebody with years and decades of experience who's not in the medical field, that knows how to assess the body and is going to be able to use that information to optimize the fit. Now, in terms of doing a fit, I don't use a lot of technology. Like, we'll set up cameras, we'll put lasers on the knees, we'll use some mirrors. A lot of that is so that you can see yourself and be walked through the process that I'm going through. If you were to introduce some tech, say with a retool fit, we're using motion capture devices. That's good if you want to get an exact number to know that the knee is at or should be at 47 degrees or whatever we're throwing out there. But there's no real way to know whether that's optimal. Even if you're going to try to use some power, which we often do with dual-sided power meters, there's no way to know if you're in a more powerful position because you're not also measuring oxygen exchange and measuring heart rate. So it's much more complicated to say we're going to use technology to optimize the fit. Oftentimes it comes down to how it looks, how it feels, and making sure that if we are using some tech, like say a power meter, that the number output seems reasonable, and more often it's just looking for good balance between the feet. So I'm not completely sold on motion capture and retool beyond it being a really nice piece of marketing. Even, I've tried a couple samples with the mapping technology with the saddle. The issue is that you maybe have this super specific map of where pressure distribution is on the saddle, but often the mapping technology, they're on this very loose fitting neoprene sleeve that can shift and move underneath the saddle. So I haven't seen the value to go out and spend a few $1,000s on one of these systems. I don't usually think it's needed to make sure that somebody ends up in a really comfortable position, but that is just me. So kind of to summarize, if you're looking for a really great fit, try to find somebody with a medical background, somebody who's going to do a really good assessment that's going to inform the fit. It's always nice if people are using some technology with a fit, using some video, using some lasers, using some power output numbers to make sure that things make sense, make sure that things are well aligned. But beyond that, I personally think it's a little bit of marketing, and I don't think we're going to find in the literature or on Google Scholar any papers showing otherwise. If you are interested, and I know people always ask me about the AI apps that are available on phone to do a do-it-yourself fit, they are trash, they are garbage. When I'm doing a fit, sometimes we'll change somebody's seat position fore aft half a centimeter, and it makes a huge difference for their comfort and for their enjoyment on the bike. And there's no way that a dinky camera on somebody's iPhone and an inferior piece of software is going to be able to tell you to move that saddle fore aft a couple of millimeters, or to move the seat up or down a couple of millimeters. I think it's probably a good ballparking tool if you are just getting your first bike, so that's a win. But in terms of an exceptional bike fit, not a chance. There's no way that I don't think a computer is ever going to be able to beat a human bike fitter, because so much of it comes down to the assessment, to touch, to the feedback between whoever's doing the fit and the client to make sure that it's in line with their goals and that they are getting the right feels. Or maybe a couple hundred years or a couple decades with ChatGPT, I don't know. But right now, I just know the technology is not there beyond maybe putting you into the right ballpark, but not in the right part in the ballpark. So when you are ready to make that investment and go from a basic fit or a ballpark fit to one that's customized to you, see somebody that you trust. Hopefully they are in the healthcare field. Get something if you want with technology, go in that direction, but again, I don't think it's necessary in order to find the best fit. And again, I would think about it as an investment, because if you are more comfortable on the bike, you're gonna be happier and you're probably gonna go faster. If you are in the Toronto area and you're looking for a fit, you have any questions, I always do a complimentary case review and a virtual fit consultation to make sure that our process is right. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Take care, guys.